Friends, Dan Przaski from allaboutminibikes.com, and I'm doing great, and I hope you're doing great also. Got some news today. We're going to talk a little bit about the mini bike we're building, the from scratch one from the plans. I've talked about that. We've done some videos on that. I want to talk about that today. We've been a little slowed up. I'll admit that. The last actually week and a half has been crazy. A lot of stuff to do that, aside from that, wife and yard, and you know how it is in the spring. So much going on. Besides, we had some bad rain and that, so it kind of stopped up a lot. But I want to touch right now. First thing I'll touch on the frame. I did a big video yesterday doing carb work, doing a total rebuild on the carb for the Ramjet mini bike because it appears to be flooding out. It'll idle, and then when I go to give it gas, it floods out. Looked at the plug. The plug has signs that it's flooding out, so I went and got a kit for it. Took the whole doggone thing apart. Videotaped it yesterday. Put it back together, and it's doing the same thing. So I got to get a little bit more help on that. I'm not quite sure what the problem is, but let's talk about the mini bike frame first, okay? So I've got the frame up here. So one of the main things, I've got the motor mount over there, the plate. So basically, I said this before, what we're doing here, we'll put the motor on the mount, and we'll place it on the frame. And then what you do is you line up the gear on the rear. What you put the clutch on the motor, of course, and you want to line it up and get it straight and true as can be before you end up doing any kind of welding or anything. I was fooling around with it, finally got some time yesterday before I did the carb, and I was just trying different shims that I had laying around. And of course, none of them are the right size. So tomorrow, Friday, I'll pull these off. I'll get it over there, kind of line it up left or right when I get the motor on the plate and put it on there. And I've got a friend coming out from there. We'll take that measurement, and then hopefully next week we'll weld that motor mount on there. Once we get that, I'll put the front wheel on. Everything else that's got to be done, and get it put together. Make sure she runs right. So I'll keep you abreast on what's going on with that. Right now it was just this, and I could cut these shims, believe you me, but with a handsaw, with a hacksaw, but it'll take me forever. And they're never going to come. Well, I won't say they'll never come out straight, but the odds of it, why do it when I can take it somewhere they got the right machinery to do it? So do it right the first time instead of doing it twice. That's up with that. No, something else that happened, a couple weeks ago at the mini bike swap meet. A friend of mine, a mini bike friend, he's on our mailing list and watches our YouTube and stuff. Really great guy. Well, he dropped me off. He sent me some magazines to the house and stuff. Some really good ones. I love this one. It's from 1970, and it's a great magazine. What? Looking for the exact date on this one. Oh, there it is. July 1970. Anyway, it's great. But I posted some pictures yesterday, and this was a test. Indian Uprising, it's called. But what's interesting about this in 1970 is they're talking about this bike. That's Jeff Ward. I think he's 8 years old, getting there, and that's Dave Carlson. Dave Carlson, he was doing the testing on this, and it says it's an Indian, but I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. It's the Indian. There's the specs, but what I'm getting at with this one, it's 1970, and they got this bike, and the whole article starts out talking about what's happening with mini bikes. And are these mini bikes, or is this a mini cycle, or they don't know what to call it? And it just shows you the evolution of things. And as they're talking, they're saying how the last 18 months so much has changed in the market. And so this was like a crazy time between mini bikes and mini cycles. And this one, I think, may have one in here also to do with the so I would consider that a mini cycle, like my YZ80A. And so the article is really interesting as it talks about it. But the majority of everything in here is mini cycles. Here's one on front end suspension. Everything was changing so much at the time. It was just getting away from, it was like birth. It just started growing and growing. So anyway, it's a very interesting article because of that. Then I have another friend who's way on the other side of the world, Australia, Robbie. Robbie Martin's a great guy. He's hooked me up with stuff. He's great at researching. He knew I had this YZ80A, and what I really wanted for it, he had hooked me up, and I got an original owner's manual type that came with it. Couldn't find one anywhere. He hooked me up with that. And then the other day, yesterday, to my surprise, on Wednesday, I get something. Well, what's Robbie sending me? And here it was. I know it's a replica. Who cares? This is the brochure you would have gotten if you went into a Yamaha shop back in 1974. Anybody older enough remembers? You go in these, were laying there. You'd take one or two, or one every time you went. You would go home and read it over and over and over and over and dream about having one, which I do now. I'll pull it out of storage there. It's in a climate controlled place right now. And so this is beautiful. I opened up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. So I have to send Robbie a thank you. But I thought I'd show this to you because this is what you would get in the old days at the dealership. And you'd go in there and they were lined up they had these for every bike that they had in there, whether it was Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, Kawasaki. We didn't have a Kawasaki dealer by us though. Just Yamaha and Honda and Suzuki. Anyway, so I thought that was really, really interesting. And so that's what's going on around here right now. And so we'll keep you abreast on everything. If you've got questions, ask. I'm really liking our design there and everything. I'm sure this will be what we go along with. But you know what? I'll show you one other thing that we had to change on here, though. And that'll be the tree here. We're getting estimates right now for the steel and the parts, and this will have to go. This is just too much metal. It's expensive. Steel just keeps going up and up, and it's just too expensive. So actually, we'll go back when I was at the swap meet with Ray on the oldest little Indian mini bike. You know, we're just going to go back to the bar that came across enough to hook it up over there, and then hole go down through the center of it, and you have your neck like we have on here, and just a bolt go down through it, and nut, and do it up. But I just thought I'd let you know on that, because that is that the price of steel is really making the change. And the same thing with their foot peg on there. Not quite sure what we're going to do. Probably leave it like that, but the first frames that'll go out will be that you weld them yourself, and if you choose not to put it on, you can do that. But I think it'll be great to keep it with the old vintage style. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll have more coming up in about 3 or 4 days. And 3 or 4 days, I'll have another video coming out. Might even do one on a ride. I think I'm going to take the Motovox out. It's running good. It's supposed to get up to 80 degrees today. I got a lot to do, but I'll hop on it, get on the country road, and go out a couple miles back and forth and just enjoy the sunshine that'll be out there today. And I hope you do the same thing this weekend, okay? So thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, and we'll keep in touch. We always appreciate your comments. Thanks. Have a great day.